Hi everyone, welcome back to the Redmen TV and your post-match content after Liverpool beat Chelsea 2-1 in what was a mental game, to be honest, wasn't it? It was wild, it was fully enjoyable, actually. Obviously, with the end result being as it was, there's a moment there towards the end, especially when that ref gave that free kick against Darwin on the slot and Núñez both collectively lost their minds. I think the less said about the ref, the better for the next 20-odd minutes or so, to be honest with you. But yeah, what a result, what a performance. Anfield absolutely bared its teeth and then some, I think. Yeah, unbelievable. Obviously, cheers, mate. Yeah, goals, Mohammed Salah, Curtis Jones. We could probably do a good old chunk on Curtis Jones, to be honest. And Mosey kicks us off with exactly that theme as well. Unbelievable he was today. Baldwin there. I'm never a doubter of Curtis. I knew he had what it takes. I'll have to take your word for it on that. I don't have your chat history to go scrolling through and find out exactly what your longer-term opinion is on Curtis. But honestly, he was absolutely outstanding today. He was everywhere. Defensively, it was a proper all-round midfield performance actually from him. Made up to see him get a goal, of course, and we actually discussed in the pre-game stuff about Curtis scoring and what celebration he might pull out the bag if he did so. There was some discussion that he'd already said he's going to do the bow and arrow. He abandoned the bow and arrow to obviously mark the birth of his first child this week with the thumb in the mouth. But yeah, he was just, honestly, he was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant. Won a penalty and a half in a way as well. Obviously, we had the one that was overturned. We'll debate that, I'm sure, long into the night if we need to. Liverpool picked up 3 points. Liverpool top of the Premier League. Ultimately, who's asked whether the penalty was given or not? For what it's worth, I don't think it was a nailed-on pen. The first one definitely was. Absolutely no two ways about that one. I think the second one can go either way, but I must admit, once it's given, I'm a little bit surprised the threshold and the bar is low enough to overturn that. I thought once the referee had given it, because Sanchez, it's clumsy, it's reckless, it's a bit daft from your goalie, to be honest. Yes, he gets that tiny touch on the ball first, which probably saves him. But yeah, anyway, let's talk more positive. Yeah, mate, it was not good in there. Like, I hate Chelsea, but we all hate Chelsea, let's be honest. But it just felt like a moment, like it was a statement, of course, a statement performance, a statement win, a statement 3 points to go back at the top of the Premier League, given what Man City managed to conjure up earlier on. It felt like a necessity almost in a way, because we as Liverpool fans believe we're capable of doing something special this season. I think we've seen enough evidence of that already. I'm not ultimately that arsed whether other people do or don't. It doesn't really faze me. But in order for us to actually be in the conversations towards the business end of the season, we have to win games like today. So I felt like it was vitally important that we did. And I thought Chelsea were decent. I don't think they were great. I think we were okay at periods. I think the midfield in the first half an hour especially, was a little bit non-existent, if I'm being brutally honest. A little bit easy to play against. The goal Chelsea scored actually comes from a little bit of that, a little bit too open, too much space in that midfield department of ours. So far from perfect, but to come through in the manner that we did, and it potentially could have been more comfortable. Mention the penalty non-decision as well. Anyway, let's dive into it, shall we? Marcus Ward says the referee was an absolute disgrace. Do you know what, Ahmed? This is a great shout, by the way, and the ref was a disgrace. For what it's worth, terrible. One of the worst referee performances I've seen at Anfield for a little while. Actually, I don't think he ever got control of the game. There was moments in the second half, especially when he was booking people left, right and centre. There was the Núñez and Badiashile incident, and I almost thought in my head, he's lost control here. But then I almost had to check myself and go, I'm not entirely sure if he ever got control. Maybe for like the first 5 minutes. But as soon as he started giving free kick, it just ran away from him completely. And by the end, he didn't have a clue what was going on, to be honest. Not a single clue. Mr. Chick Flick asked, who do I think was man the match? Without meaning to not keep me powder dry before the player ranking show that we do after, my personal choice for that would be Curtis Jones. I thought him, Mohammed Salah, goal and assist, obviously is in that conversation. I thought Salah's all-round game was on it as well today, to be honest. I think it was a proper performance from him. I thought Gravenberch got better as well as the game went on. I thought by the end, he was one of the main protagonists as to why we got over the line with all that game management stuff. He was turning people inside out for a laugh, like he so often does, of course. Thought Trent was brilliant as well, to be honest, defensively especially. Another kind of strange performance from Trent, whereby he's not anywhere near as influential in an attacking sense. He's not pinging 40, 50-yard passes left, right and centre like he so often does. But again, every time he's called upon from a defensive standpoint, there was one shaky moment where him and Kelleher got a little bit caught up with each other. But other than that, I thought he was boss again. Kept Jadon Sancho absolutely silent, so much so he had to get dragged. But yeah, I agree with you, Michael. I think Jones was man of the match. And Jack's also spot on. I thought Gomez came on. And speaking of subs, somebody, Ahmed a moment ago, mentioned Darwin Núñez and his defensive work rate. Boss. Unbelievable defensive performance from Darwin Núñez. He was like a man possessed the minute he got on the pitch. He was just unrelenting everywhere. And not just in terms of what he was doing and all that work rate. It was the quality he showed once he had it as well, because there was one pass he played for like a 40, 60-yard ball. I'm sure it was into the path of Cody Gakpo. It was like Xabi Alonso-esque. It was unbelievable. I had to almost I asked Frank in there, one of our assistant producers, was that Darwin? Didn't feel right. Anyway, Abdu Demi says, Trent is playing like a right-back. Our midfield is good enough. I agree with that. And I touched on this before the game started, actually, because it's interesting how he is just playing more like a conventional right-back right now. And you obviously touch on the midfield there, which is full of technicians, which it hasn't always been the case. And Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool was so heavily reliant on the full-backs and creativity from them areas. It's not the case anymore with Arne Slot. But I do still think Arne Slot will know how brilliant Trent Alexander-Arnold is with the ball at his feet. And I do still think he'll want to get him into positions and into areas and on the ball enough to influence games as well. Because you don't want to, you don't want to say to Trent, okay, I want you to be more normal right back now, which he's clearly capable of. He's proven that once again today. But his ceiling is so high in terms of on the ball. You don't want to take that away from his game, because you're taking away everything that's made Trent what he is today in a weird way. So it's an interesting dynamic. And Lolly makes a point that Bradley's a better traditional right. I tend to agree with that point. But what makes Trent so special, what makes Trent Trent, again, is what he can do with the ball. So if you stop that, I don't know what it looks like. But that's a conversation for another day, because he was exceptional, absolutely exceptional defensively once again. I really think he was. No, that's true, but I think that's been the case all season, Rob, to be honest with you. I get your point, and the wind was why you seen Plazzy Bags every now and then just strolling across the screen. So it's a fair point, but I think it's been all season long, more or less. I don't think he's been anywhere near as at the heart of things from an attacking point of view. Defensively, brilliant, but he's not the Trent running games from right back like he has done in the past, you know what I mean? Anyway, Charles J says, we need to wrap Graven in cotton wool, my God. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he is integral to what we do right now. Absolutely. A lot of people talk about Dom Szobozslai in the chat, so we'll speak about it for a minute. Nicholas as well. Work rate is a minimum in this team. Sobo isn't working harder than any other midfielder, and his passing is championship level. Nothing on the Jota injury, by the way. Absolutely nothing on that whatsoever. I'm waiting to see if Arne Slot says anything in the not-too-distant future. As for Szobozslai, I'm not sure anyone puts in quite... I'm just looking at Curtis Jones. Some of the blocks he made as well in that first half. My word, what a performance. I don't think anybody puts in quite the shift that Dom does. I agree in terms of the fact that that work rate, that endeavour and that desire to do the pressing, the dirty work, the intensity of it, that is a prerequisite for getting into any Liverpool team, it feels like. And Szobozslai leads the way in all those metrics, I would say. However, there's no two ways about it. Too often, his decision-making or his quality in possession keeps leaving too much to be desired. There was the one today, it might come from that Núñez pass I was speaking about a moment ago, actually, and Gakpo finds Szobozslai in acres of space, and he should do better with the finish. It's a really tame finish, actually, in the end. So, disappointing performance again from Szobozslai, and I say disappointing, that's a bit hard. I think he was okay, but again, I think there's one or two moments you can pinpoint there and go, you could do better there. And with Curtis Jones playing as well as he has done today, Ryan Gravenberch, we know, is an immovable object in that midfield right now. Alexis McAllister comes on and gets his 20-odd minutes towards the back end, and all being well, he'll be ready for more minutes next time out. I do wonder whether Szobozslai, if he wasn't looking over his shoulder already, now he could well be, because lads have come in around him and played better than he's been playing. And again, Curtis Jones wasn't just the goal, wasn't just the fact he wins a penalty. His all-round game today was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Núñez had a great impact. He absolutely did. I thought he was exceptional. Somebody says Dom looked tired. Wouldn't shock me. He plays every single minute for his country as captain, and then plays most minutes for us as well. His tank is probably what makes him stand out from the rest, I would say. But we seen last year sort of the frailties of just keep running him into the ground, His form suffers as a consequence. We need to be a bit more careful with him, and that might come in the course of the next few days. Leipzig obviously return to his former club, of course, in Leipzig, and then next weekend against Arsenal. It'll be interesting to see what he does. But yeah, I agree with the Nunes point. A lot of love for Nunes in the chat, Mr. Chickflick as well, as Liverpool 12th man. Darwin was... I said it, and it looks as though we don't know anything on Jota yet, but I would be surprised if he was fit and available for midweek against Leipzig. So I would imagine Darwin gets the run there, and based on what he just did, more than deserving of it, because brilliant. Absolutely. One of the better Darwin Nunes performances, actually. And obviously, we'll all point to Newcastle away when he gets the goals. He gets the win at Forest and stuff like that. He's chipped in with goals, not on a consistent enough basis, obviously. But his all-round work today and what he did was, right up there. Right up there. Nicola says, Elliott works as hard as Sobo and his passing is class. Yeah, I love Harvey Elliott, and there's certain games that are crying out for Harvey Elliott. There's no two ways about that. It's just the fundamental reasons. The foundation of what Liverpool do is based on the athleticism and the physicality of that midfield. Certainly when it comes to out of possession. Harvey will work his nuts off for you, but he doesn't have the same presence, doesn't have the same engine, etc. as Dom Szobozslai. Because again, I come back to it, nobody does. Nobody does. Sad. We'll dive into the Twitter in a second. Let me just find it. Here we go. Somebody's had the screen on massive. That is... Steve was sitting here. What's wrong with his eyes? Dear me. Right, let me just dive into my own tweet. Scrolling down. Here we go. Craig Everton, somebody who I went to Fulham away with last year, kicks us off with John Brooks is fucking livid that we won. For anybody that doesn't know and spent the entirety of that game calling the referee a wanker or various different swear words, John Brooks was the referee of that game, and Craig believes that he won't be happy with it. Another Dan says, less said about the ref the better, and thankfully it didn't cost us at the end. Shout outs to Jones, Nunes, Mo and Grav again, who are all excellent. Our depth this year has proved to be strong. Just hope Jota is okay. On to Leipzig before the 6-pointer. Yeah, absolutely. Bliss says, great win, but my God, we have to have a conversation about Sobo. The amount of times play broke down through him again. I do wonder whether it's such a fucking simplistic analysis point for me, but I do wonder if he's working so hard out of possession sometimes that his brain's a little bit fucking goose by the time he gets hold of it, because he has an absolute abundance of quality. I'm certain of it. I've seen it with my own eyes. Like the start of the season he made last year was just out of this world, but I don't know if he's doing himself a disservice. Maybe he could be a bit smarter with his energy uses. I'm not sure what it is, because for whatever reason this season generally, the point is right. It does leave a lot to be desired when he gets his decision making's off, or when he makes the right decision, the quality's left wanting. Yeah, and it's so frustrating with Dom, because I'm not having the general slander that he's just not a good player. I don't believe that to be the case at all. I think he is an exceptional footballer, actually. But it is frustrating when you're not getting that out of him, you know what I mean? And I said it earlier on, if anybody wasn't here, I think his place is under threat now, because of what Curtis Jones has done today. Providing McAllister is fit and available for proper minutes this week, there's a proper conversation around Dom Szobozslai. There just has to be. Forza Liverpool says, big win. Performance was patchy at times, but very well organised display. Yeah, I think patchy's fair. I think it started off really tamely, actually. It grew into a proper barnstorm of a game. I think Anfield played into that. And it was interesting how when the first penalty came around and we obviously scored it, the ref had made probably his first sort of clutch of poor decisions in around that. And I tweeted it at the time, actually, from our account. It was like he poked the Anfield bear. And all of a sudden, I think Chelsea had an attack. Maybe Madueke got around Robertson. And it kind of unnerved Anfield a little bit as well. Added to the fact that the ref was starting to be proper shit. Liverpool then went on the attack, and all of a sudden, the noise went up a notch or two, a level or two. The atmosphere started to really kick in. And I think Liverpool, the players, got on board with that a little bit and were fueled by that a touch. And on the flip side, Chelsea and Levi Colwill in particular, his head was in the bin for 5 minutes there, and we sensed blood and capitalised on it. It's a shame we couldn't have put the game to bed in that instance, because it felt like there was an opportunity to do so there. But all's well that ends well. Pastor Nom says in Twitter, it wasn't pretty, but got the W, which is the first time I've ever said that out loud, so I apologise. Hope Sobo knows he's only playing because he runs a lot. Footy-wise, he's been shocking. Has to do much better. Salah had a very good game, but he doesn't have to play with the headline pass every time. Just play it simple at times instead of overdoing it. He's doing a pretty good job of doing the old headline pass. The assist for Jones was special. And he was unlucky not to get another brilliant assist, actually, when he finds Gakpo out in acres of space on the opposite wing, and Gakpo cuts inside and gets the finish all wrong, to be honest with you. But yeah, Salah once again today, and I think Salah's got the numbers to go with the performance today. I think a few times this season we've been saying he wasn't great, but he walks away with the match-winning goal, the match-winning assist, whatever the fuck. Today, it was all there, I think, as a collective. He warranted staying on the pitch for 90-odd minutes and essentially wins the game for us. So, Mo Salah. Doing Mo Salah things. Matt C says, a good win, not at our best. Filthy if we drew or lost. Pleased there wasn't an international hiccup like Forest. Yeah, and I think the not at our best point is right. And we're not firing all cylinders yet. I wouldn't really expect us to be under Arne Slot, if I'm being honest. It would be, 3-4 months into his proper reign as Liverpool manager. I think if we were the finished article, I'd be concerned at this point. I think there's still a lot to learn. We're clearly learning on the job a little bit still. It was a fascinating watch how towards the final 15, 10 minutes of the game, that game management mode kicked in. There were still moments of attack. I mean, Diaz in particular wanted to wrap the game up with a goal. He was trying his hardest to do so. But more often than not, the choice of pass was really telling. There was a couple of moments when Gravenberch could have gone forward, but instead turns back to Robertson, to Van Dijk, whoever. And I do think that is just kind of learning on the job and just seeing out games in a bit more of a smart way. Something we did at our best and the best version of us under Jurgen Klopp, but we lost a little bit last season. Man United in particular. Let's just have a couple more Twitter comments before I dive back into the YouTube. Conor Mallon in Twitter says, my poor heart. Yeah, it was a little bit fucking too close for comfort towards the end there, wasn't it? Dean Foley says, that was way too tense, but my God, what a win. Jones sensational, Salah fantastic, Trent defended well. Have that, Gary, you twat. I don't know what Gary will be talking about, but I'm here for it. Okay. Marcel, a Chelsea fan. I'm going to round off on Twitter with this one. I work it out as I go. As a Chelsea fan, if you are the worst team and still win, that is the title. Okay, I've got it. Yeah, I've got it. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, the playing not at you. Well, I don't think we're the worst team, actually. I don't agree with him. Playing not at your best. Thanks very much, Mr. Chickflick, by the way. Just seeing that comment. And finding a way to win is something. I don't think that's finding a way to win. What Man City did earlier on was found a way to win. I thought we were good value for that. I would just say it wasn't perfect. But I'm not having Chelsea with a better side necessarily. I don't think Chelsea can be particularly hard done by. And the way the players acted towards the end of the game, I think there was a little bit of relief from Arne Slot from Liverpool. But I think that was more because we knew how important it was to pick up 3 points. So we knew just how significant it was to do so. There was a bit of a cup tie feel towards the past 15, 20 minutes. But I don't think Chelsea can walk away from that thinking we were robbed of anything like that. If anything, I think we slightly edged most moments in the game. And actually, when it comes to the referee, who clearly has a big sway into which direction a football game goes, just based on his judgments throughout it, I felt like we were hard done by and got the shit rubber green when it comes to that as well. So, and yeah, Petros here, Chelsea only had 2 shots on target. Yeah, exactly. I'm not sure. Yeah, Chelsea could have been playing with 10 men. That's a really interesting point. I actually don't think that's a banker red card, but if you just cast your mind back 24 hours, that judgment is immediately clouded. So yeah, and it was so similar, wasn't it? Let's be honest about it. It really was. It really was. Can we talk about... No, I don't want to talk about John Brooks. He's a bellend. I don't want to talk about him. And I don't swear often for people. I know I've swear a few times in this, but I'm not a big swearer, but I don't want to talk about John Brooks. Slim Moran says, the XG's there. And, I mean, if there was ever a clearer indicator of A, who was the better team, and B, how the result should have gone, there it is in black and white for everybody. There you go. Diane Butler. Curtis Jones had one of, if not the best game for Liverpool today, was involved in so much and should be proud of how he did. Yeah, absolutely. I made up for him as well. I wonder whether how much of his celebration, the initial part of it when he was essentially giving it to the cop, I wonder how much of that was about the critics, because he'll be well aware of the critics, of course he will. I'm not suggesting for 1 second that the critics are coming from the Kop, or even anyone inside Anfield for that matter. But there was definitely that a sense of a let-off of emotion, and it's been the emotional week for him as well, hasn't it? Let's be honest, with his newborn baby and stuff like that. But honestly, I was just over the moon, and it was a goal that his performance warranted as well. Like, I thought he was genuinely superb throughout from a defensive point of view, getting us out of trouble as well time and time again. He started the first big attack and the first big chance that we actually had by playing his way out of a tricky, properly difficult area. So yeah, made up for Curtis. Made up for him. A lot of people talk about the ref. And do you know what, Wayne? I love Curtis Jones. I love him, and you know, for what it's worth, he watches. I'm not telling anything untold secrets. He watches a fair amount of stuff here, and I'm just going to say this to sort of appease him, because I do think some of the criticism sometimes can be in the round being justified. And I said it earlier on. I think sometimes he's had too much of a stop-start Liverpool career, and that's not his fault. It's been injury-related more often than not. And then when he is fit, sometimes somebody else is playing so well ahead of him, he can't get back in the team. I do think when he's got in the team and nailed down his spot, he's been brilliant. But because it's been so stop-start for him, he can feel almost a little bit lacking rhythm too often. And I think his reset mode, and it's probably where people point the most blame at him as a player, is keeping on to the hold of the ball too much. He seems to churn it in possession every now and then when he's not at his sharpest, which is fair enough. But I think it's actually a hangover from what he was as an academy player. When he was a winger, he was a captain most of the time, and it was get the ball to Curtis and he'll win the game for you. And more often than not, he did. I think he almost casts his mind back and he just becomes that player again. Whereas in the men's team, in the first 11 stuff, when you're playing under Klopp or Slot, that isn't the case anymore. You don't have the same time in possession and all that sort of stuff. So, and it's a different role as well. He's playing in the midfield now, where it can be a million miles an hour anyway. So, anyway, I'll stop talking about Curtis Jones. Last couple of comments now on YouTube. No, it does happen there. It absolutely does. We hear it quite a lot, to be honest with you. And again, it depends what the criticism is, I guess. Some of it's just bang out of order and unnecessary. But then some of it can be actually quite sort of, you know, intelligence as well. So, whatever. So we need Sobo to step up. Yeah, I guess. Okay, yeah, he did do this. He did. And it was a big old block as well. There's a couple of massive blocks, last ditch, right? Szobozslai, Curtis Jones, and Andy Robertson. Right at the end as well, when the game was properly on a knife edge, with 7 minutes added on. Where the fuck did that come from? Terrible ref. Yeah, everyone wants to talk about the ref, don't they? Swap Szobozslai with Wirtz, please. Just that easy. Just swap him, Florian Wirtz. Dead simple. Don't worry about it. Make it easy. I like that comment there. Sound, I'll start to wrap up. Please do join me for the player ranking show. If you possibly would be so kind, it would be massively, massively appreciated. That is the show, if you haven't joined us before now, where we rank the players, would you believe it? We rank them from boss sound to your messing, and the manager for that matter, and we award the man the match. It's all going on. It's all happening. So do join me for that in like 2 minutes as I begin to wrap up this one. But before I do, I have a super chat from Momo Sissoko. Beyond me, how we want Mo to be the one sold. Well, none of them are going to get sold, ultimately, Momo, but I take your point. I'm not going to dive into a proper contract chat now, am I? I haven't got time. We just won with top of the league. Have I got time to be doing this? We have a player rating show on Plus, by the way, YouTube. Let's just, Joan Alviso, the defining games and the calibre of games aren't going anywhere, are they? We're going to have to strap ourselves in for the next, 6 weeks? Not including the international break. Just dead quick. Trent's priority, because he's 26, he's got the prime of his career and the best years ahead of him. Virgil van Dijk's next, because central defenders tend to have a slower rate of slowing down, because if they do lose a yard of pace, they're so experienced by then and so brilliant, that's already in their head and they can just read the game a little bit smarter. And Virgil van Dijk is Virgil van Dijk, and he's a captain. Mo Salah is third on that list, not because he's not boss, because my word is he boss, and for what it's worth, I'd keep all of them. I don't care how much it costs. However, he's third because I just wonder if we tied him down to a 3-year deal at 300 grand a week. In 3 years' time, are we still getting the same output for Mo Salah? Possibly, but that's a bigger question mark than the Van Dijk and the Trent ones for me. Anyway, That's all I'm willing to say on the matter, Your Honour. I will not be taking any further questions on contracts. Sound. Thanks for the hat, love. This is from fedsforreds.com. If you want to check that out. Boss, I think we're done. I think we will get 2 contracts sorted, by the way, for what it's worth. Yeah, wait and see who they are, eh? Cool. I am going to go and do the player ranking show now. I've got some big news to tell everyone, actually. I think it's just gone out on socials, so you're probably going to watch it there, see it there, but don't do that. Let me tell you in a minute. Come and rank some players with me, would you? That was a good show. I enjoyed that. Sound. I'll see you there in a minute.